Hi lovely people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Abigail. This video is about this beautiful cowl neck top with collar. If this is what you're interested in, keep watching. Let's get started. So guys, for the purpose of these tutorials, these are the materials I'll be making use of, and for my fabric I'm going to make use of 2 yards of fabric. So I've gone ahead to draft out my basic bodies. The pattern we are making use of is just the back pattern. The measurement for my neckline is 3.5 for the width and 1 inch for the depth. The line here is my shoulder measurement, my shoulder divided by 2. That's my armhole, that's my chest line, half length, and that's the full length there. And then at the corner there I came up by ½ inch to eliminate the sharpness, and then I try to blend the sharpness there as well. Then from my shoulder line I came down by ½ inch to make the shoulder slope. When I was drafting this pattern, I added extra 1 inch to the bust, waist, and the measurements at the hem. I added extra 1 inch to it because this blouse is a free blouse. It doesn't have a zipper, and that 1 inch is just for ease allowance. When I'm cutting on my fabric, I'm still going to add stitching allowance. I'll just go ahead to fold my fabric into 2 and place my pattern on it to cut out the back piece. I added ½ inch stitching allowance to the neckline, shoulder, and armhole. Then I added 1 inch stitching allowance to the side, then ½ inch to the hem of the blouse as well. Now I'm done with this back piece. I'm just going to unpin the pattern so that I'll be able to modify it for the front piece. I'll modify this pattern by cutting through the chest line from the center back. I won't cut it fully so that it doesn't pieces into 2. And then on the folded fabric I'm going to place this pattern. I pinned down the body part so it will be easy to move this part, and the length of this folded fabric is about 14 inches longer than the pattern paper. I will explain the reason to us shortly, but first I need to add ½ inch stitching allowance to the shoulder armhole part, then 1 inch stitching allowance to the side of the fabric. The ½ inch for the hem is already there. Now to the top here, I'm not going to cut out the fabric in that straight manner. Rather, I'm going to extend the line from the shoulder in a slanted manner. So that's the reason why I said your fabric must be at least 14 inches longer than your pattern paper. My fabric wasn't long enough. I had to attach another piece at the top. Cutting it out this way means I wouldn't have to cut another fabric for my facing. The part slanted up automatically serves as the facing. If I cut it out straight, it means I will need to cut out another fabric for the facing. Now we are done with the front piece. The next thing to do is to cut it out. So guys, this is what the front piece looks like. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to bring the back piece and join the shoulders together, right side facing each other. So I'm going to do it like this. You can see I'm using my pin to hold it down. I'll do that to the other side as well. The shoulder is very easy to spot, so I'll take it to my sewing machine and then I'll stitch it. Okay guys, I'm done stitching the shoulder, and the next thing I'm going to do is to try to align the back from the center back as you see me do. I want to make the facing go inside, then pin it down as you can see, so that when I want to attach my collar it will be very easy for me to do. The next thing to do now is to cut out the collar, but before I do that I'll first measure my neckline to see what I have there. So this is me measuring the back neckline. What I have there is 7.5 inches. So I'll measure the front neckline as well. From the shoulder, I'll measure 3 inches down. 3 inches because the collar is not a round collar. So 3 inches on the first side, 3 inches on the second side, that's 6 inches. Plus the 7.5 I measured at the back, that's 13.5. Now I want to draft out my collar on this pattern paper, and the first thing I did was to fold the paper into 4. Now I'm going to measure the height of my collar, which is 3.5 inches. I'll measure it on the other side as well. Then I'll rule a straight line across. Then I'll measure the length. Don't forget it is 13.5. I'll divide it by 2. That is 13.5 divided by 2. I'll mark it out. Then at the upper part here, I'll measure 7.5, and then I'll connect the dots. I will come to the center here and measure 1/2 inch up. Then I will slope it. Then I can now cut my collar. Now I'll go ahead to cut this out on my fabric. When I'm cutting on my fabric, I'll add 1/2 inch stitching allowance on the height and also the length of this collar. Alright guys, so I've gone ahead to attach stay to this collar, and I also stitch this side. The next thing to do is to attach the collar to the top. So I'm just going to notch the center. I've gone ahead to notch the center of this top. So I'm just going to pick one side of the collar and attach it to the top, right side facing each other. So I'm working on the back now, I'm pinning the back. So guys, when we get to the front, we are going to like fold out the facing. That is, the facing was folded inside the other time. I've gone ahead to iron it, and it's giving me this gator line. It is on this gator line I'm attaching the collar, as you can see. So I'll do the same to the other side as well. This is the second half of the back. So this is the front of the other side. You can see that gator line. Yes, that is where I'm attaching the collar. So when I get to my machine, I will stitch it exactly as I have pinned it on the gator line. Alright guys, I'm done stitching this side of the collar, and as you can see, the collar was stitched on the gator line. The next thing I'm going to do now is to use this other side of this collar to cover it up to give it a neat finishing. Just like we separated the facing the first time we were stitching the collar, we are also separating the facing now as well. So I'm trying to pin it down carefully. This is the back now. The back is very easy to do. So guys, this is how it's going to look like when you are done stitching. Okay guys, I'm done stitching the collar, so I'll just set this top aside and work on my sleeve. I've gone ahead to cut out a basic sleeve. I cut the right hand and the left hand together, and the length for this sleeve is 20 inches. It has a band, and the band is about 5 inches. So when I stitch it at the down part there and I attach it to my top, I'm going to have about 24 inches. That is the exact length I want the sleeve to be. So I'll just go ahead now and notch the center for this sleeve, and then I'll notch the center for the band as well. I'll take it to the sewing machine, make little pleats at the hem of the sleeve, and then I'll attach the band. I'll come back to show us what I've done. Alright guys, this is the sleeve. So the next thing I'm going to do is to attach the sleeve to the top. So I've gone ahead to notch the center of the sleeve, so I'll attach it to the shoulder line of the top. I'll use my pin to attach it, take it to the sewing machine, then I'll stitch it down on both sides of the armhole. I'll also go ahead to close the side of the sleeve and also close the side of the top as well. Okay guys, I've attached the sleeve to the top, and I also close the side of the sleeve and the side of the top as well. So the last thing to do here is to hem the down part of this top, and with that we've come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Kindly subscribe to my channel for more videos.